The night smelled of dust, sweat, and desperation. Elena stood in the corner of the dimly lit tavern, her fingers trembling as she clutched the torn edges of her shawl. The voices around her blurred into a dull roar. But one sentence echoed louder than the rest, over and over again. Sold. She's yours now. Her husband didn't even look at her when he said it. Marcus tossed the small pouch of coins onto the table and wiped his hands as if he had just finished a simple transaction. As if he had traded livestock. Not a human being. Not his wife. Elena's heart didn't shatter in that moment, it froze. There's a strange kind of pain when betrayal runs so deep that even tears refuse to come. Please. She whispered, her voice barely audible. Marcus, don't do this. But he only turned away. Debt had eaten him alive. Gambling had hollowed him out. And tonight, he chose survival, his survival, over her dignity, her freedom. Her life. The man who stepped forward to claim her was everything she feared. Heavy boots. Thick beard. Eyes that didn't see a person, only possession. Come here, he growled. Elena didn't move. One of the tavern men laughed. You bought her, not her obedience. You'll have to teach that. The buyer grabbed her arm harshly, dragging her forward. The room watched. Some with pity. Most with silence. Because in that town, this wasn't unusual. And that's when the door opened. A cold wind slipped inside, carrying with it a presence that made the room go still. Boots echoed slowly across the wooden floor. One step at a time. Measured. Calm. Dangerous. The stranger didn't look around. He didn't need to. His presence alone demanded attention. Tall. Broad-shouldered. Dressed in worn black. A man who carried silence like a weapon. He stopped at the table. How much? He asked. Just 2 words. No anger. No urgency. But something about his voice made even the drunkest men sober up. The buyer frowned. She's not for sale anymore. The stranger reached into his coat and placed a heavier pouch on the table. Coins spilled slightly from the top. Twice the amount. Now she is. The room fell silent. The buyer's grip on Elena tightened. Greed flickered in his eyes. Double, huh? He muttered. Marcus looked up now, finally interested. Take it, Marcus snapped quickly. That's more than she's worth. Elena flinched. Not at the insult, but at how easily he said it. The buyer hesitated for a moment. Then released her arm. Deal. The stranger didn't smile. Didn't nod. Didn't react. He simply picked up Elena's wrist gently, so gently it startled her more than the rough grip before, and led her toward the door. No force. No command. Just quiet certainty. Elena followed. Because for the first time that night, she felt something unfamiliar. Safety. Outside, the night air hit her face, cold and sharp. She turned to him, her voice shaking. Why did you do that? The stranger didn't answer immediately. He removed his coat and placed it over her shoulders. Free, he said. Her breath caught. Free. The word felt unreal. Like something she had forgotten existed. I don't understand. He finally looked at her. And in his eyes, she didn't see desire. She didn't see ownership. She didn't even see curiosity. She saw distance. I didn't buy you, he said quietly. I paid for your freedom. And then he turned and walked away. Just like that. No name. No explanation. No expectation. Elena stood there, frozen, watching the man who had just changed her life disappear into the darkness as if he had never been there at all. And for the first time since that nightmare began, she fell to her knees and cried. Freedom felt heavier than chains. Elena didn't realize that at first. 4 days, she wandered. No home. No direction. No purpose. Because when your life has been controlled for so long, even freedom feels unfamiliar. Terrifying. The coat he left behind became her only comfort. It still carried his scent, leather, smoke, and something steady. Something safe. She held onto it like a memory she didn't fully understand. Who was he? Why did he do it? Why walk away? Questions haunted her, but answers never came. Until the night everything changed again. She had found shelter near an abandoned stable outside a small town. The wind howled, and hunger clawed at her stomach. And then she heard it. Voices. Rough. Angry. Familiar. Elena's blood ran cold. She couldn't have gone far, one man said. Marcus. Her husband. He wasn't done with her. She cost me money, he growled. And now someone else paid double. You think I'm letting that go? Another voice laughed. You want her back? Or the men who bought her? Both. Elena's heart pounded so hard it felt like it would give her away. They were hunting her. Not because they cared, but because she was still something to profit from. She backed away slowly, trying not to make a sound. But a loose piece of wood snapped beneath her foot. The voices stopped. There. Footsteps thundered toward her. Elena ran. Through the dark. Through the cold. Through the fear. Branches scratched her skin. Stones cut her feet. But she didn't stop. She couldn't. Until suddenly. A shadow stepped out in front of her. She froze. Him. The stranger. He looked exactly the same. Calm. Unshaken. As if he had been waiting. You shouldn't be here, he said quietly. They're coming, she gasped. Please, they'll take me again. I know. Behind her, the men burst into the clearing. Marcus's face twisted in anger. You. The stranger didn't move. You paid for her once, Marcus sneered. Looks like you'll have to pay again. The stranger's gaze remained steady. No. The word was simple. Final. One of the men stepped forward. Then we take her. Silence. A dangerous silence. And then. Everything happened at once. The stranger moved faster than thought. In seconds, the men were on the ground, groaning. Defeated, broken in spirit if not in bone. Marcus staggered back, fear replacing arrogance. You. Who are you? He stammered. The stranger stepped closer. Someone who doesn't sell people. Marcus ran. Didn't even look back. The forest fell silent again. Elena stood there, shaking. You came back. She whispered. I never left, he replied. She frowned. What? I stay where I'm needed. His words were simple, but they carried weight. Why? She asked again, her voice softer this time. Why help me? He looked at her, not through her, not past her, but at her. Because someone should have. That was it. No grand speech. No hidden agenda. Just truth. Elena felt something shift inside her. Not dependence. Not fear. Something stronger. Hope. Come with me, he said. She hesitated. Not because she didn't trust him. But because she finally had a choice. And slowly. She nodded. Months later, Elena stood on the porch of a small, peaceful ranch. It wasn't grand. It wasn't perfect. But it was hers. She had rebuilt her life, piece by piece. And the men who once walked away. He stayed this time. Not as an owner. Not as a savior. But as something far more rare. A partner. And as the sun set over the horizon, Elena realized something she never thought possible. The men who paid for her freedom had given her something even greater. The chance to choose her own life. If you believe in stories where kindness changes destiny, make sure to subscribe. Because here, every story reminds you, sometimes, the right stranger can save your entire life.